Moshiach, I'm Edery. Shalom Uvracha. I'm here with Moshe Cohen, my good friend. He's a Cohen, so he doesn't shake hands with everybody on any day. In any case, we're just doing a chazara on a sikha that we already learned. Moshe, would you like to say what the sikha is about?
So this particular sikha is focused on the element of what is Torah Chadash. And the Rebbe goes through the sikha over explaining that as a concept that's not meaning a new Torah, but that there's elements that are brought forth in a new way. Because obviously there's only one Torah that was ever given and will ever be given. So you can't say that there's a Torah Chadash as much as the fact that it really means Torah Chadash for the times of Mashiach.
Right. So in other words, we want to understand how could it be that it says such a thing? How can it be manifested in general? And if this is something that needs to be fulfilled, that the Torah Chadash needs to come forth from Mashiach, so then how is this even legally possible according to Judaism, right?
Because whatever was written, and whatever the mitzvot are the mitzvot. So obviously, the whole point of any posek today is to interpret the Torah to apply it to today's times. So that's sort of what's happening here. As we go into it, it'll be more apparent, is that when we have, for example, the Leviathan or the Behemah, so for the Leviathan, it says it's shechted, okay? So that he shechs himself with his tail.
Or the Leviathan shechs the Shor Habar.
Correct. That the Leviathan shechs the Shor Habar with his tail. So how could that be? It's not a knife.
Yeah, it's not a knife, and it's not kosher according to today's halacha. Right?
So that's Torah Chadash in the sense that obviously that's something that only happens once ever. So how are we going to reconcile that? Because if the Tzaddikim are supposed to have a Suda with the Leviathan and the
Shor Habar,
then how can they eat the meat if it wasn't properly shechted?
Right, so Mashiach has to come and give an answer to this question, and we have to figure out, how does he even have the right? Is it because he's a Navi? Is it because he's smarter than Shlomo HaMelech? Is it because, and even if he is a Navi, is a Navi allowed to be Mechadash anything in Torah? So we're going to go through a little bit of all that, and hopefully by the end of this, of course, spoiler, if you guys don't want to know the end, but the point is that at the end of the day, a Sanhedrin needs to be standing in Yerushalayim, and Mashiach needs to come forth to the Sanhedrin and tell them his chidush with a few details that are different than anybody else that can bring this kind of chidush in front of the Sanhedrin. And like this, he can manifest the Torah Chadash Mititetzes. So from this is implied that the Sanhedrin needs to be standing before Mashiach is even crowned, or before Mashiach at least fulfills this part of his destiny, of this Torah Chadash Mititetzes. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Yeah. So, Ma'chidushim ha'ikrim b'yimos HaMashiach, kepsak din harambam, sheba'oisan hayomim, tar behadea v'achachma v'ha'emes, she'oisay hamelech Yamad mizera David, hamelech HaMashiach ba'al chachma yi yoser mishlomo, v'navi gadol hu karev l'Moshe Rabbeinu, lefichach yelamed kol ha'am v'yera oisam derech Hashem, ulefichach yiu Yisrael chachamim gdolim v'yodim dvarim astumim v'yasigu da'as bayram kefi kayach adam. So the Rebbe starts off and he says that from the main chidushim in the times of Mashiach, the Psak Din of the Rambam, and that in those days the wisdom and the chachma and the emes, the truth, in that time with this king that will stand from the seed of King David, the King Mashiach, he will be Baal Chachma. He'll have a lot of wisdom, higher than Shlomo. He'll be a greater prophet, close to the prophecy level of Moshe Rabbeinu. And therefore he will teach the entire world, the entire nation, and he will show them the way of Hashem. And therefore, Israel will be great scholars and sages, and they will know the secrets, the Dvarim Astumim, the things that are beyond, until then at least they were beyond comprehension. V'yasigu da'as bayram kefi kayach adam, they will grasp the intellect of the Creator in the capacity of the Adam, of the person. And in the Lashon of Chazal, we continue, Miyusad al pasuk Kitara Chadasha Meiti Teitzeh, כשנאמר בייעודי הגאולה, תורה חדשה מאיתי תצא, חידוש תורה מאיתי תצא, עשית הקדוש ברוך הוא לי את יוסף ודרך תורה חדשה שעשית ליתן על ידי משיח. And in the language of our sages of blessed memory, based on the pasuk, which a Torah Chadasha from me will go forward, from me, referring to Hashem, like it says in the prophecies of the Geula, the manifestations of the Geula, Yehudei HaGeula, a new Torah will come forth from me, from who? From Hashem. A revelation and a revelation and a new chidush in Torah from me. Hashem Himself will be giving and teaching Torah, this new Torah, which will be given through Moshiach. Okay, so Me'ite is not talking about Moshiach; it's talking about Hashem. But Moshiach is the one who gives it to us, to the simple people. Okay, V'yesh Leimar. שאין זה מרומז בדברי הרמב"ם שמלך המשיח בעל חוכמה יהיה ירסם ושלמה ונביא גדול הוא לפיכך ילמד כל העם שכיוון שנביא גדול הוא לכן תסגלה אליו התורה החדשה שמאיתי תצא וילמד לכל העם. So the Rebbe says that yesh leimar, we might say that this is hinted in what the Rambam says, that the King Mashiach will be such a wise person, higher than Shlema, and a great prophet is similar to Moshe, and therefore he will teach the nation. In other words, that the fact that he is a great prophet, therefore the Torah Chadasha will be revealed to him. In other words, we said that Hashem is the one who gives the Torah. Because Mashiach is great in prophecy, what does that mean, great in prophecy? That Hashem is talking to him, is communicating with him in a much more open way than with other people. And so that's the link. That's the link. In other words, any other person could technically receive this Torah from Mashiach. So why wouldn't receive this Torah from Hashem? But what's unique about Mashiach is that his level of prophecy is on the level of Moshe Rabbeinu. And therefore, because he has this level of prophecy, he'll be able to bring forward this message of the new Torah. So, Moshe, any questions, comments?
No. I think the main question that comes to my mind is how soon, when Mashiach is established, then does this Torah Chadasha present itself? In other words, is it simultaneous to as soon as Mashiach shows up, that now all of a sudden there's a new world view of things, or is it something that is transferred over time, or only based on circumstance? For example, by the Leviathan having to shech the Sharabar, is that only the time that this Torah Chadasha comes into play, or is it something that is given over with all the pratim from the very beginning, or is it only dealt with on a case-by-case basis?
So I think that, first of all, if we have to just go with what the Rebbe is saying, obviously it seems like this. First of all, we have to think that the Torah Chadasha, this level of consciousness, or this level of revelation, of Nevuah, it sounds like, if I'd have to guess, it sounds like it's happening during the times of Mashiach that are supernatural. We've already entered the part where nature is kind of breaking at the seams, spirituality is taking over, Hashem is revealed, everyone's starting to see more and more clearly that Hashem runs the world. So we know that, according to the Rambam, we know that we have the natural part of Yom Mashiach, the supernatural part. So if you're already seeing the Leviathan and the Sharav are fighting, I can imagine that sounds like it's the supernatural part.
Right, because the Leviathan is supposed to be
this huge whale, the size of the world.
The size of the world. I mean, it's supposed to exist at and its body is wrapped
around the oceans from the bottom.
Exactly. So
we're talking. So it sounds like supernatural,
right?
But it sounds like this is happening during the supernatural period.
Right, but again, Torah Chadasha has to be in the practical too, meaning that there has to be now new perspectives in our avodas Hashem that is being brought out also.
Right, but again, we know that mitzvahs betelis la'asid lavoi, that all the mitzvahs can be cancelled when Mashiach comes. Even for that, I would say that it could be in the natural part of the Geula. Why? Because the whole reason the Rebbe explains in another sikha that mitzvahs betelis la'asid lavoi is because we're going to want to do the mitzvahs so much that we're not going to need Hashem to tell us to do them. Uh-huh. The world's going to come to a place where it says, I don't need Hashem to tell me to do the mitzvahs, I'm going to do them anyway, which is very similar to the way the Jewish people are doing mitzvahs right now. Nobody's telling them to do it anyway, and most of the Jewish people are doing it anyway, even though we don't even have a Sanhedrin standing and so on. So, in a way, that's much closer to our time. But what's for sure is that it sounds like there's a Sanhedrin sitting in Yerushalayim, and that's a given in this story. So it seems like the Sanhedrin is sitting there, and I would take that it seems like the Jews have done everything they can, including establishing a Sanhedrin, maybe crowning another king, or maybe a few generations of kings to the point where we get to this supernatural part. But it seems like the Jewish people have done everything they can, and then this supernatural stuff happened, and then this new level of consciousness. So, in other words, why would I bring up the fact that mitzvahs betelis la'asid lavoi? Because it's very possible that at this time, the Sanhedrin is standing. There's a new way of looking at the Torah. The Sanhedrin has changed the Torah into a different way of practice. And then the Mashiach comes again with a new level of nevuah, a new level of a Torah Chadasha, and brings new insight into the Torah. I'm not sure exactly where this falls, but it sounds like it's in the supernatural.
Torah Chadasha is post Mashiach, and the Torah that we have now is pre Mashiach.
Pre Mashiach, yes.
But Torah Chadasha is more in the context of as soon as Mashiach presents himself, that's when you have Torah Chadasha. You don't have to wait around for the supernatural.
Yes. But what's also interesting is how do we lead up to that point, or how do we get to that place?
It's a binary. It's a switch. As soon as Mashiach is anointed, then that's when you have Torah Chadasha.
Right. But as we'll see further, there has to be a Sanhedrin in Yerushalayim.
So that's what I'm saying. So the Sanhedrin established once the Mashiach is anointed as king, Mashiach, whatever, Melech Mashiach, then that's when you have a Torah Chadasha. Because no time in the history of the Jewish people that we ever had a Mashiach.
Right, but I also say that I don't think that it's a hostile takeover by Mashiach. In other words, the Rebbe says that the Geula is when you add the Aleph to the Gola. So the Gola is like Galut.
Right.
You add an Aleph, it turns into Geula, into redemption. So we're not taking away from anything that we had till now.
No, not at all.
And even the Torah Chadasha itself is being verified by the Sanhedrin.
100%. No, nobody's doing something, on their own here. This is under the auspices of the Sanhedrin. But point being is, once somebody comes along and says, "I'm Mashiach," the Sanhedrin does their particular investigation.
Yeah.
Person meets the criteria, then he's anointed as Mashiach, and at that point, that's when you have Torah Chadasha. Because again, no time in the history of the Jewish people was there ever Mashiach.
Right. Okay, so let's continue. The Torah Chadasha de la Asid Lavai Beis Perushim. Oifanim. There's two ways to look at this whole situation. Aleph, Achidush Beis Galos Tamei V'Setes HaTorah Kedisa B'Yerushalmi. Yesh Dvarim Shem Mashikin Aleim Esapeh, Mashikin Esfasayim Aleim V'Soismim Esapeh Ve'en Legaloisam. Like it says, Yashkenim Nishikas Piu Ve'inyanim Elu Yizgala B'Torah Chadasha de la Asid Lavai Shemuftachim Me'ita L'Haifia Oid Alehem Levar Lahem Soy Taimi Umirsatz V'Nisera Kefishim Martina B'Kama Mekam Shemashiach Yilamid Pnimius HaTorah as Kol Ha'am. So we know that we say that there's two ways to look at the Torah Chadasha. Number one is the technical, lawful, legal way. I'm sorry. The first way is the prophetic style, which is we're going to give you the secrets of the Torah. We're going to give you the reasoning behind the Torah. Just like it says, Yashkenim in Ashikas Pil, like when someone kisses his partner, his wife. So this is a secret. The closed lips is a secret. Keep this between us. So there's certain parts of the Torah, like the Paradumas mysteries and different other mysteries in the Torah, the Chukim, which we don't know the reasons for them. Right. But when Mashiach comes, we're also going to learn all the secrets.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Is the second part is chidush gam behilchas haTorah. Kedei isa b'medrash benegel l'levyasim b'shar habar. Ketzad hem nishchatim behemes noitis l'levyasim b'karna v'karei v'liyazan noitis v'lebehemes v'snapira v'noicharei zu shchita kshera hi v'loi kach taninon hakol shoichatin u'b'kol shoichatin u'la'olam shoichatin chutz mimagel katzir v'hameger v'hamshinayim mipnei shehen choinkin. Amar kadosh baruch hu Torah chadosh miti teitzei chidush Torah meiti teitzei chidush behilchos haTorah sheshchita kazu tiyek shera. So the second way that we're seeing a chidush is in the halachas, the legality, like we call it, like the lawyers and the and the judges of the Sanhedrin. That we take a practical example of the Levyasan, like Moshe said earlier, that when we know that the Levyasan, the grand whale, is going to come and slaughter like you said, the behemoth, the sharabur, the great beast, he's going to slaughter it with his fins or with his tail, and that's going to and that is not, according to today's Jewish law halacha, that's not considered proper shchita. But when Mashiach comes, Torah Chadash Miti Teitzei, the new Torah that is going to come forth from Hashem, passed through prophecy to the King Mashiach, and articulated in wisdom as high as King Solomon. So that is going to be the way we're going to answer the halachas. So on one hand we have revealing the secrets of the mitzvahs, and on the other hand we have a new practical implication of Torah law. Gimel, holding Gimel, you see Gimel there. Tzarech lahavin davar barur u'mufurash b'Torah. It's a known thing and it's explicit in the Torah. Shehi, which is mitzvahs omdais la'olam u'la'olmei olamim. That mitzvahs stand forever and ever. Okay, ein la shinui v'lo girayim. They have no change and they have no taking down of them. V'lo teisefes, and you cannot add on to the mitzvahs. Shenemar, like it says in the pasuk, is kol hadavar asher anochi mitzaveh eschem. All the things that I tell you today, oisai tishmeru, these are the things you should fulfill. La'asais, to do. Lo toisiv alav v'lo sigram imenu. You should not add on to this and you should not subtract. V'nemar v'hagniglois lanu v'nenu adelam la'asais es kol divrei atera azais. Halamadata shekol divrei atera mitzuvin anu la'asais an ad olam. So from here we see that all the things that we are commanded on, we have to do forever. V'chein hu oimer chukas elam aderisechem. It also says that Torah is not in heaven, so that from here we see that a prophet is not able to be machadesh anything new in the Torah. So according to this, and I'm going to say it in English, according to this we understand that the Torah Chadasha from me is coming out through Moshiach, which is a great prophet. It's not, but there's a rule. It's not coming from heaven. So and if a prophet is not allowed to make a chidush in anything, so then what does it help that Mashiach is a prophet? He still doesn't have the right to change anything in Torah. Or in more detail, when we're talking about making a chidush in the laws of the Torah. One second. So, if the Torah Chadasha is coming to Mashiach through prophecy, and it is not in the way, because it's coming from Hashem. So if it's coming from Hashem, it's coming through prophecy. If it's coming through prophecy, then it is not according to the Geder of Torah. But then we say, if we're talking about the Chidush of the Torah, we know that according to the Torah, Shchita B'Sakin Paguma, Einak Shera, that shefting with a dented knife is not kosher. And even if somebody says, well, the tail is going to be glatt, it's going to be smooth. Well, if nobody saw and checked the tail before, it's still in the cheskas puzzle. How can we say that this is mutter? And this is and we know that, and this is exactly the opposite of what we said, that nothing changes and that the Torah is not in heaven. Okay, so Moshe, let's see. I want to go through quickly, scan to the part where we get to the Sanhedrin. So let's go to right before Ois Vav, paragraph before Ois Vav. So the Av Shechidush, the last paragraph of Ois Hey. See? And now, 1 second. Before you went too far. Here. This one here.
Okay.
Here we are. So the Av